do some intros here. My name's Derek Kessler. I know many of you on the call here. Been with Evolve IP little over Evolve IP ATSG, little over 3 years now, supporting the Mid-Atlantic as a channel manager, and appreciate everybody taking the time to learn about this merger. It's an exciting time for us, and I want to thank you.
Zach?
And I'm Zach Anderson, the channel marketing manager here at Evolve IP ATSG. Really excited that you all joined us today, and very excited to talk about what this merger means for you all moving into 2025. We have a lot of things planned. So, following this kind of overview session, just be on the lookout for additional training sessions coming up. Be on the lookout for some resources for you all to use to talk to your clients. And just looking forward to working with you all.
And I'm Gary Colvin, Evolve IP's channel chief. Been busy making sure that all these additional solutions get into our comp system. So effective today, see anything that you got an immediate need for, you're going to get paid for it. Don?
Morning, everybody. I'm Don Imaizumi. I'm the SVP of Sales, focused on our channel and OEM relationships. So again, as everyone said, thank you very much for taking the time this morning. Really excited. Look forward to, virtually. It's nice to virtually meet you. Look forward to meeting you face to face in the coming year. But again, thank you for taking the time this morning.
All right, Derek.
Okay, yeah. So I think a lot of you have heard about the merger of Evolve IP and ATSG have now officially merged. Many of you are familiar with the Evolve IP product set, leader in the UCaaS and Microsoft Teams space. We're one of the first suppliers with Microsoft Teams to offer direct routing. We've got a CCaaS product offer that's in Gartner, as well as our desktop as a service offering. But now with the merger of ATSG, you can go to market with one of the leading MSPs, and the cloud, the offerings that they have, including managed cloud, managed operations, managed network services, and managed security. So now you've got a huge product set that you can go to market with, and obviously more products equals more money in your pocket. And I know that a lot of you like money. So the combined companies here, we're 240 million in revenue, got over 1,700 customers, almost 1,000 employees, and we've got 1.2 million managed endpoints today. So some of the larger enterprise logos there at the bottom of the screen, but we'll still focus on the SMB market as well. So I'll turn it over to Don to talk further about the ATSG product set.
Great, thanks, Derek. Thanks, everybody. So we'll all kind of glance over this today, and again, as they make sense to you and to your customers, we can certainly deep dive into each of these called towers and explore how we can help you, earn more business and add more value to your customers. So, I call this my 4x4, and really, when you think about it, as Derek mentioned, are genuinely excited about the opportunity now to bring terrific talent, experiences, and capabilities from Evolve IP with ATSG, and combining those two, and really have allowed us to do two things. Really, they've allowed us to deepen our capabilities in a couple areas, as well as broaden our capabilities in a couple areas. And I'll kind of go through that as I go through the 4x4. So again, really excited about the combination, what that can bring to our organization, but also to you and your customers. So the first one, as an example, I'll talk about is our managed cloud. So think about our managed cloud, and as you know, Evolve IP from a desktop as a service. What we've done now in Evolve IP has always been on the Gartner hype cycle and reports, et cetera. But now with the combination with ATSG, you'll see that we're also listed as a challenger within Gartner's Magic Quadrant. So again, those are all distinctions that are very well forensically reviewed and defined, and something that Gartner, obviously, they will not take the effort of putting effort around it and putting you on that chart unless you have earned it. So really proud of what the team has done, and really excited about the additional talent, skill sets, and really what that does for you and your customers is provides options. And that's what we want to do. And having been a customer, I've been selling IT outsourcing for 30 years, but as I say, over 3 years, and bought many of these services. And so what it does is it creates options to meet customers where they're at. They may be a certain type of technology lean, if you will, in terms of allegiance to what they have in their infrastructure. So now we have options from a desktop perspective, but it also bleeds into our infrastructure as well in our hybrid cloud solutions. And so the combination of both companies provides not only what is legacy and Evolve IP, and now legacy ATSG is Citrix-based. So we have, again, the different options from a technology perspective, and now combining the experience and the services capabilities, I think make us an even more powerful player in the market. So really excited what that does in our managed cloud space. Our managed network services is another area this is a new area, and that's hopefully you'll find opportunities in the marketplace. We believe it exists. We're in the leader space from a Gartner perspective, so very proud of what the team has earned over the last 7-10 years, and really risen every year in that leader space. And really what that talks about is not just about kind of managing and monitoring LAN WAN, but really gets into, and our differentiation, if you read the report, is our ability to manage the service. So we talk about things like business impact modeling. What are the high priority services, high priority processes, and what are the components associated with that, and making sure that as we start to triage and do kind of incident management and remediate issues, and really focus on the key business services within your environment. So an example I give just for context is, certainly we can do standard routers, switches, APs, et cetera, but also we can extend into what I call OT, operational technology. So we're in a major hospital in Texas. One of their highest priority areas is their NICU environment. So we're monitoring NICU devices that have an IP address and some telemetry. Being able to ingest that and incorporate that into our overall service that adds additional value and context to that business. So we combine that now with our additional, as I mentioned, new services that ATSG and now Evolve IP, extending our capabilities around contact center and collab. Now being able to bring all that together with managed network services really, I think, provides an even stronger capability in the marketplace. The third area I talk about is the managed operations, kind of the plumbing, if you will, that I call around kind of the support for end users. So I've been doing service desk for a long time. So this is tier 1 through tier 3, ITIL based, ITSM with ServiceNow in the back end as our solution, but really a process driven approach to how you manage requests, incidents, change and problem across from any kind of user, if you will, and helping them not only manage the users, but also the remediation. So what's exciting to us and what we feel we can differentiate for you and your customers is not only we take that first call, work to resolve it, but as we identify where the issue is, being able to have, whether it's the NOC participate because we're managing their infrastructure, knowing where it might be a site issue, for example, maybe that's an issue with an AP or a router, but also incorporating, hey, now I need to go replace a device, whether it's an end user device or a device within a data center, within a retail store or the like, being able to deploy resources and actually provide that full service to remediate the issue from beginning to end. So again, providing that managed operations is an exciting thing that we're looking forward to working with you to extend to yourselves and also to your customers. And the fourth tower that we talk about is our managed security. Very exciting. We bought a company a couple years ago to really put both feet into security for specialists when it comes to microsegmentation, zero trust, helping really navigate and really put in methods and tools and techniques to allow them to really quarantine, because it's not a matter of if, but when these bad actors get in, minimize and mitigate the damage. We've extended now and expanded that offering, partnered with a company called Expel, who provides us the Workbench platform, and they're in the equivalent of Gartner's Magic Quadrant in the Forrester Wave as a leader in that space, providing that tooling, if you will, but also the experience, the knowledge base, the run books, the automation, machine learning associated with helping really, again, the bad actors try to mitigate the issues that are out there, ingesting multiple telemetry so we can ingest over 120 different tools in the marketplace. Most customers have 60 to 100 plus tools in their environment. Very hard to understand how do you separate signal from noise, being able to ingest all that, rationalize it, put priorities around what the major incidents are, and work effectively to help ensure that you mitigate the damage and issues associated with these unfortunate issues that are being created by these bad actors. So in addition to providing the managed service, we also provide supporting services and consulting services. So think about pen testing, red team exercises, discovery workshops, zero trust I mentioned, incident response capabilities as well within their managed security capabilities. So we're very excited. Unfortunately, we have, it's a service that's required in the marketplace. Excited what we can do with you and your customers. And then the wrapper around it, and both organizations have a passion towards customer success, customer experience. That won't change. In fact, I think we'll get stronger by combining the organizations. So we're really passionate about having that lead customer experience manager really managing the engagement. But really, a lot of customers also, hey, I don't really start with a managed service. We start with, I got a project, I want to implement a new network. We can help them with design, implement, and then manage, but also procure devices to give them a full kind of one throat to choke and get them end to end from idea all the way through management and support. So again, this is, and the last thing I'll mention, we are global. So we have 24/7 by always support, both here and onshore and offshore. So if customers want either or a hybrid, we can provide that based on what the customer need is. So again, excited what the combination of the organization can do, and hopefully provide you more kind of tools and arrows in your quiver to help provide value to your customers. And so excited about getting together and working through some opportunities for you in the near future. So I'm going to take that. Gary, you want to comment? I know you sometimes I miss things, or you have even more value there.
Yeah, just a couple things I want to add. The merger is just a hair over a month and a half old, right? And we are moving at the speed of life to not only consolidate our back office, but to consolidate our front office as well. Part of what will happen, you'll see probably before the end of Q1, that Evolve IP, ATSG, DIN Cloud, Zen Towers, all the subsidiaries that are part of ATSG will all be consolidated into one new 5-letter brand that we're very excited about. So we are going to be rebranding the company. The other thing that I wanted to mention, there's two more quick things here, is that the whole managed network services piece and managed security piece and managed operations piece is new, and in addition to the core cloud services that we sold at Evolve IP. Comp rates are set. They are done. We can sell these solutions right now. I wanted you to remember that. The last thing I wanted to mention is we will retain being mutually exclusive. I am well aware of a big help desk company that's out there that a lot of you work with today that will do the help desk, but will only do it if you buy the security. In our particular case, as Don likes to say, we're going to meet the customers where they need us. So if you've got a customer that needs MSP type solutions and only MSP type solutions, we won't force them to buy something else that they're not in the market for. And I think that's going to be a critical differentiation point for us. So with that, it's exactly where we wanted to be at 11:45 to start opening it up for questions. Zach, you going to lead the charge for us here?
Absolutely. So I'm going to go ahead and turn on the cameras and microphones. I will say, if you do have a question right off the bat, go ahead and use the hand raising function that we have here, just so we don't talk over each other. But yeah, everybody's good to go. So let's kick it off. Who's got the first question?
Because we're going to pick on you if you don't have one.
John Vargo, fire away.
Hey guys, nice presentation. My initial thought was that one of the good markets for this might be somebody that feels like they've outgrown their local MSP, and you're dealing with a company that probably has already outsourced their IT, so they don't really know much of how their existing MSP works, but they know it's they're not answering calls on time, or maybe they expanded offices. And it seems like it's a whole big heavy lift to go from an MSP that they have in operations. And again, I don't know if they have, contract terms here, maybe they're all spaced out. So what would be the hurdle to try to get somebody to move off of, let's say, a local MSP to something more sophisticated like yourself?
Yeah, thanks, John. Great question. So, what I found in having done this, right, first the transition process, and anytime you introduce kind of complex change, it is a challenge. But ultimately, from an execution perspective, the challenges exist in terms of the quality of their documentation, right? Do they have all the inventory captured in the CMDB? Do they have run books associated with it? Do they have, knowledge? How much knowledge do they retain versus what the partner retains? And so, being a good partner, and we've been on both sides of this, right? People leave for different reasons. Sometimes they get bought. Sometimes they have a different service they want to do, whatever it may be. But what we think is you got to be able to make sure the customer owns, and whether it's with us or someone else, they need to own their data, right? And so that's a challenge most customers have, is they don't know what data they have, and so it becomes that's one of the more largest hurdles to get over in terms of transition. Outside of that, I mean, we have a pretty structured transition process that allows us to do the discovery, allows us to help them understand, and depending on, again, the quality of data, and the information available, will help accelerate or extend the transition period. But generally, it's around that data element that I mentioned. I don't know if it helps anyway, John.
Yeah, and just, I mean, from their standpoint, again, and I don't want to hog up this conversation, but they're FUD. So all of a sudden they find they went through this major process. They have you, they're under contract, and that fear of, well, what if you guys are no good? I mean, maybe you have some examples or case studies in a hospital.
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe you have something that can say, we've done this to 50 people if you want to talk to them, or get rid of that whole idea,
100%.
so to speak.
Yeah, I totally agree, John. And we can provide references as you'd expect, as well as case studies as it makes sense. Obviously, for me, references are, you got to treat them like gold, right? I don't want everyone calling our customers. At the same time, we have to do it because it helps other customers talk to other customers, and we step out of the way, and certainly would encourage that for those types of situations.
And John, one of the things that we believe we're going to see is that customers that are looking for a combination of enterprise, tier one, end user help desk, as well as customers, especially in medical, that want us to provide managed network services. So that means that we're monitoring, all of the hardware that's attached to the external networks, there is a fine line difference between managed network services, which is typically an admin to admin, versus help desk, which is always end user tier one support. So I think we're going to be able to help out in both of those, especially one of the things that ATSG brings is an enormous amount of experience in the actual hospital business. Now, we always, we'll retain our high trust certification, but hospitals were never a strong suit for us because there was just capabilities that we were limited to, which is actually a strong suit for Don's core group.
And maybe just lastly, do you have some kind of an entry point where you can say this group will be, maybe something more than a discovery call, where maybe you would do some kind of mini assessment or something like that? Is there anything that you're thinking about in that regard? And this will be my last point.
Yeah, so we do have some qualifying, questions, if you will, some discovery questions that can help us put scope around it, make sure that it fits kind of what we think is our sweet spot, our ideal customer profile, which does vary a little bit depending on which tower we're talking about. But ultimately, John, we can certainly do a kind of a mini discovery and then understand, what that might look like, and also some of the levers associated with it. For example, if they want 24/7 versus 8 to 5 or follow the sun, do they want hybrid? Do they want onshore only? Do they want us to have their resources as part of it? There's variations of the model, which is why we think that our flexibility also provides an advantage. But certainly we can let them know that what those are, so that you can be well informed.
And one final comment, John, it's like if you were to, there's the difference between when you ask the channel sales guy, Don, what's the ideal customer profile, he's going to tell you 250. If you ask the channel services guy, me, what's the bare minimum, I'm going to tell you 100. So just remember that, especially in the managed operations space, that we're never going to be the company for the 20-person enterprise. It's typically solid mid-market space. Don, you would agree with that, yes?
Yeah, absolutely. And and as you mentioned before, again, other times, it's like if there's combinations, you have then it makes it, I think more easier, but from if you look at that one tower for specifically, there is an ideal custom profile which is around, like I said, like you said, 200, 250. Can we dip to 100? Yes, but below 100 it gets really. I think the quality of our ability to actually deliver as effectively and get the experience we want is not the same in our opinion, in our minds, and so that's why we want to stay above that. And really the cost associated with a per ticket basis, and more importantly for a customer, gets a little bit more extensive than I would want to buy personally.
Who's next? For Stacy, you got something for us?
Actually, yes. So in the combined entity, who do you consider to be your main competitors in this space at the, ideal customer size?
Yeah, thanks, John. Really good question. Each tower has its own competitive landscape, if you will. So if I look, for example, in our managed network services, we're really dealing with people like HCL, even some of the carriers would be considered competition in that upper space. Some systems integrators like Ahead or Trace3 could be competitors in that upper space. But if you look at the managed operations, I could see people like Core BTS or some of the mid-market, if you will, players. Now there are some, there's like TCS. We might see them once in a while, but really don't play. That's kind of in the Fortune 500 enterprise. We don't really play in that space. Not that we don't have we have a couple customers, but that's not our target market. So really, it does vary based on the tower. Like on the DAS space, I mean, there's a lot of folks. I mean, certainly, Azure in and of itself, from an AVD perspective, but there's also kind of smaller players that we go against. So so it would vary, but certainly we can talk to whichever we want. eSentire would be one on the security space, Arctic Wolf on the security space, and just variations of that across each tower.
Do you think this opens up additional, like you mentioned, healthcare is not really a strong suit right now, but do you think the combined entity and product offerings gives you a foray into that space?
Oh, 100%.
So I think what Gary was mentioning was that prior to Evolve IP by itself, it had some great customers in it, but not as strong in the healthcare. ATSG is strong in the healthcare for a variety of different reasons. Actually, some are logical, some are just happenstance, if you will. But yes, we have depth in the healthcare space from a security perspective, from a managed network services perspective, really deep in those areas. In large hospitals, regional to large hospitals. I mean, I feel very strongly that, and passionate about kind of our ability to be successful in those areas.
And John, I just wanted to add a couple comments to what Don had mentioned. I would say that in our ecosystem, I think the Thrive and Blue Mantis would be, in the MSP space would be the primary competitors, although both of those are typically not mutually exclusive. As there's a fairly crowded space out there in security, but I think again one of the things that we're going to try to do in terms of differentiation is we already know customers have a number of tools. They could have upwards of 50 different tools that they're currently using. Ours will not be rip and replace. Ours will be to try to see if we can leverage the tools that they've got and supplement those tools primarily with our MDR partner. So in the managed network, it's typically carriers, right? The managed network space is typically the Verizons and the Lumens of the world. And then, in the DAS space, the only people we really see that are channel centric would be RapidScale, and RapidScale's leaning away from private DAS and leaning more towards public DAS offerings. So we think there's enough. There's going to be definitely enough uniqueness that we're going to stand out pretty selectively.
Fair.
Drew, you got something? I guess that's a no.
Oh, I was coming. Sorry. No, I'm Gary. I'm good. I just wanted to hear about what the merger was all about. Read about it, but I wanted to hear firsthand.
Good deal. Good deal. Well, thanks for participating. Mr. Campbell, anything on your end? Well, Mr. Palmer, some old friends? Take that as a no. Zach, can we give everybody 3 minutes back?
I think so. I think we covered pretty much what we needed to cover, and we appreciate everybody coming on. Like I said earlier, be on the lookout for some training sessions in the next couple months. Obviously, the new branding will come out at the end of February, so be looking out for that. And and also some resources from marketing team and enablement tools and stuff like that. So thanks everybody. Hope you have a great rest of the day, and we'll end it here.
And happy holidays.
All right, happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays,
Yeah,
everybody.
Thanks everybody
Thanks very
for your time.
much.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining.
Take care.